Hi, my name's Ed Sparks, and today is your 22nd day of water fasting out of 30 days. Congratulations on making it 3 weeks. Only drinking water. Today, right now, it's 10:30. I got up a little late today, so kudos to you. And you're looking forward to, at this point of your water fast, to pooping out all of your sand and metal that is working its way out. For some reason, the small intestine area took about 10 days, so you should be right around the time of pushing the rest of that sand and poop out. I haven't gone number 2 in quite some time, and neither have you. Yesterday, I woke up and I worked up until 1 o'clock, maybe much sooner, and then we went to go to the beach about 2 o'clock and went snorkeling and did everything else you normally do. I like to hang out during the day, meet people, see what's going on. I did see the sea turtle rescue guy, which I think is a little bit of a feminine dude compared to who he should be, even though he doesn't seem that way. The only difference is that he's from somewhere other than the Caribbean, and he doesn't know how to remove hooks from turtles. The reason why I say that is because if you have 15 feet of a fishing line coming out of a turtle who swallowed a hook, a fishing line is, a hook that's being used in our area is not like a regular fishing hook. It's like a little kid hook. So if little kid hook is this round right here, and the turtle swallows it, even if you take the hook out, it's still going to be 2 holes. And if you pull it out, it's going to be 1 bigger hole. But even the size of the hole is only going to be about this big in the stomach, and you just yank it out. You don't worry about it. Worst case scenario, it's a tri hook, and there's two of them stuck. Pull that out. I was most mad at him because in reality, he didn't actually have the hook removal tool, which is ridiculous. So if you're going to use bullnose pliers to pull a hook out that you can't get to, just so you can cut it inside their stomach or inside their throat, doesn't make any sense to me. Because you should have at least a needle nose about this long to do the job with the hook on the end. Anyway, for some reason I can't hear myself right now. Instructions for water fasting. Take your water with ice. I drink a lot of it in the morning. I try to drink it at night too. Other than that, you do feel a little. What you want is attention, because you're not really going to die. You just feel weak and you want attention. You want people to know that you need attention. Now, I've already finished my 22nd day, so it's my 23rd day already. So getting attention for not eating is something that's a little bit going to happen no matter what. But in reality, you did it to yourself, and no one gives a crap. You ate yourself into oblivion, and for some reason, which is even stupider, is that you want to spend your money on fancy food and everything else. Not me. I want barbecue. I want Sonny's barbecue. If I'm going to eat fancy food, I'm going right directly to the pho place for $5 or Ensabiado. That's right. That's about the end of my fancy food. I don't need nothing. I just want mama's cooking. I want cornbread. Actually, right now, I was thinking about cornbread yesterday because I have to go to the store and make a choice. I can. Being on an island is a little bit complicated, and they're importing after. With my knowledge of the Caribbean, I know the products that we have here, and none of the products that are made in the Caribbean are in Curacao. So all the products from Curacao are from Europe in the United States, almost all of them. So, I mean, if it's not made here. So there's absolutely no South American products, and there's absolutely no Caribbean products, which is a bit strange. Uh, so what do I'm going to make a $6 purchase of green beans in a can because I want green beans in a can and mashed potatoes and maybe a pork roast. If I have I have two crock pots. That's all I need. Maybe two crock pots, one to make cake in. That's easy. You just stick a bunch of cherries in the bottom and then a cake mix on top, mostly chocolate. And this time we have tons of mangoes. So I'm just going to eat mango chocolate cake. And then I'm going to probably make some mango jelly for myself. That's free. Anyway, we were talking about me at IADT and then me volunteering at SegoNet. So I was in SegoNet, and SegoNet is the hub, it's the fastest internet in Tampa. It's one of the main switches for West Florida, for Florida in general. It's not really the Caribbean hub, I don't believe. I believe the Caribbean hub is way south. Miami, Fort Lauderdale. I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. Yeah, so we were doing infrastructure, and I learned that I was trying to. The premise of the story is I was trying to break off from the hoodie department and make everything go different directions. Because I have software, I have Ghost, we are the Invisible Men. It's all the software programming and other departments that are based on it. Invisible stuff. I got Whammo, it's the hardware department. Anyway, Ghost stands for getting hardware on so people can smile. Ghost stands for getting hardware on so they suffer. And then the Whammo department is the hardware department, which is basically just Wham. Whammo's Wham, I think. Is the appropriate term. And then we have Highwind, it's a communication department. And anyway, so we got Hoodie. So I'm running into all the internet slang and the difference between the infrastructure and the internet, which was very interesting to myself. And I run across cybersecurity, so I'm like, well, I can get my cybersecurity, and my brother does cybersecurity, so I was like, this is what's going to happen. So my brother did not do cybersecurity at the time; he does that now. So I was like, I don't know how to make that happen. So I started learning stuff and learning how to get around it, because we learned that on the internet there are things that operate the internet, and the government has contracts on the internet. But the internet is only a slice of the head cheese, so the internet actually doesn't have a regulated part outside of the internet. So if I have a cord that's the size of this circle, and this much of the internet is regulated by contract, then I can use the rest of the internet without dealing with it. So working in the switch, we learned how to get from the internet out of the internet to where we wanted to go and back in without having to pay anybody or do anything. Here in the world now, we call it 10G, or you'll call that something else. So you can figure out how to put your own 10G antenna up if you want to. I'm sure it costs you $1,000 free internet for life. Yeah, so what had happened is that I started another business, Alternative Pro Solutions. We started advertising in the paper. I got through my first year at IDT, and then I ran into the same problem I had at the other. So I went to Landmark Baptist College. I got a 4.0. I got expelled. I finished at Logos Christian College. It was unaccredited. The second one was unaccredited because they're religious schools. This is a real Baptist seminary. I go to the military. I got military credits, finishing the program, and then I went into Palm Beach Atlantic. That was accredited by the state, but they didn't accept any of the credits, and now I had to start over. But I got expelled for drinking and got arrested, and then I went to IDT, and then after a year of Photoshop and all the other programs for video editing, Avid and Premiere and everything else, over 3 or 4 semesters. I always did winter smalls, this baby smalls, winter, spring, summer, and fall. I always did all 4. So that turned into unaccredited credits, and I was like, well, I'm pretty good at this now, and I passed my specialization, but that didn't get me anywhere, so I am going to switch to public school. And I went to community college. Community college took my credits for the military only, and then I got arrested. So I had done all this work to put the hoodie department into play, and then I caught a lesbian on a body slam day, and I got nailed for battery on Leo, which is common in the United States or in Florida in general. If you say anything, it's over. So I was in jail with no bail, and it was going to be like 3 months in jail with no bail, and I was like, oh, screw that, I'm just going to plead guilty. So I pled guilty, and then they were like, well, you can have your life back, like this never happened if you make it a year. So then I was on probation, which made me get a job. I've never had a job, pretty much. I mean, at that point, I hadn't had a job for a while, so I had to go get another job. Which I got on Craigslist. Half my friends disowned me at that point, and then I couldn't work on the SWAN program anymore with certain restrictions. So I was like, you know what, screw this. The only thing I can do right now is consult. Is work in April. So we went right into the manufacturing. Just couldn't work with smart people. Have to work with the other type of smart people. So I just started fixing everything. So I started basically doing streamlining, which is acceleration, and working in the assembly line department and fixing the programs that we had available in West Florida Hab. While I got my AA, it was a bit. It's just how it works. And at that point, I was so screwed that I ended up, I think at that point, moving back in with my parents eventually, or I moved to USF area, which is a pretty big school next to it. And I tried to maintain everything else the way it went. And of course, AA is free, so that didn't cost me any money. I still took out loans. I got scholarships and stuff after the first year or whatever. But I was obviously on serious probation. Wish I moved to the rich area. So I moved to Davis Island. Is what I did. Moved to Davis Island, did my thing. We had a good time. And I didn't really leave the island too much. I just walk around. Yeah, it was tough. But I got good at, I met people in Lion. I got good at Lion. I got my specialty in training there, because you can't be an instructor unless you're trained to be an instructor, and Lions have an instructor. So I got my instructor for Spider, and I finished my degree without kids. I shacked up in Brandon somewhere for a while, and that's how that portion went before I left to go to California, which is a whole different monster. So that's day 22. Um, I know it's a brief outline. Of course, we get into a lot of crazy stuff that we've done. Um, but I did figure that California is where all the seals were, and my little brother liked it a lot. So, plus my friends from film school were finishing up and moving to Vegas. So I thought about finishing my college in California. So that was the way that I was going to go. I encourage you to drink water. Um, Whatever your goal is, that's what your goal is. The more you work or don't think about it, you forget about what's going on. Of course, you can drink water indefinitely until you run out of fat to feed you, and that's pretty much how that works. There's absolutely no difference between one piece of fat and another. So you're doing the process that can sustain you for probably for another 100 days, I suppose, um, depending on who you are and why. But y'all have a good day.